You'll be whatever you want. A knight in shining armor, or a magic spellcaster. Roll the dice, hoping for a 20 might get the one. The clash of grids can turn the tide of the battle. The dungeon master has saved the tale for us. Let's start this journey together. Ignite the fire and cast your spell. Trust your swords straight into your foes. We have the strength to overcome all the challenges ahead. Embark on adventures, endless journey beyond reality. Into the darkest dungeon that waiting for us. Pushing forward and level up. We'll finish what we have started. Lots of it.
Hello, listeners. This is a bonus segment we like to call Dungeons and Discussions, where we dive into a chosen topic, learn, and discuss. I'm your host, Oso Kuma, and with me today, as always, the Cock Squad. To my side, we have Chappie.
Hey y'all, it's your boy Chappie. I play Cletus Montgomery Claiborne on the podcast. Super excited to get into this Dungeons and Discussions segment. As a lifelong Reptile fanatic, I've obviously been super horny about anything related to dragons my whole life, and I can't wait to get started on this one. Shout out Steve Irwin.
On the other side of the table today, we have Psycho.
This is weird.
Yeah, it is. It's weird for both of us.
Hi, everybody. I'm Psycho. I don't know if I should do like a journal entry or maybe I should talk about, counterfeit Beanie Babies of some sorts.
Get them.
All disses.
Or rinse Skittles.
Or rent skills. You know what? No, I wouldn't even go there
Disrespect.
because I'm not a psychopath.
Wow.
But your name is Psycho.
You got the joke. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm Psycho. I am the Dungeon Master on our usual Clash of Crits show. And I guess a little fact about me is... Yeah, I suck a lot of dick.
Hey, we got it on record. At least we got it on record.
It's a good thing I edited this bitch.
Sucking dick's cool.
A fun fact
never said it
about
wasn't?
me is I eat my burgers upside down.
A lot of people do.
No.
Some people think it's weird.
I grab it like my fingers and I eat it upside down.
just like flip it.
I flip it.
I hate that.
Okay.
And also at the table today, we have Drop a Crit.
Bow, 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 bow. What's good, everybody? I play your boy Don Lewis, the Paladintus of the group. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of Dungeons and Discussions. I can't wait to ask, hopefully, a couple of good questions that a lot of people that's listening to this have on their mind. A fact about me is I like to warm up or toast. I like to toast brown sugar maple Pop-Tarts and put peanut butter on the back of them and eat them like a sandwich.
It actually sounds good, though. And again, I'm Oso Kuma. If you didn't know, I play a grumpy old man on the podcast, Carmine Rosalino, a.k.a. Rosie the Butcher. And simple fact, but I pretty much put cheese on everything.
As Psycho, I do the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Just go ahead and just eat it all. It doesn't matter what it does to you. Even if you're lactose, do it. It's worth it.
It is. I'm lactose and I approve that message.
We're all BBWs.
I think 90% of people who are lactose choose to ignore the fact that they're lactose.
That is true.
Most people I know who are lactose intolerant still eat dairy with reckless abandon.
Can confirm. We live and die by the blade.
So we should
by the
probably let you
block.
know what today's topic is. I mean, if you play D&D, you know pretty much most of the things you should know about dragons. There are the metallic dragons, the chromatic dragons, and a few years ago we got the gem dragons, officially. But our topic today is a Cock Universe original, the Enameled Dragon. This is something that was created by our DM Psycho, and I'm pretty sure he's the best one to drop the lore for this.
Yeah. If I'm going to talk about the Enameled Dragon, we need to start back at the beginning, which were, as people have heard many times in the podcast, if you have listened, I would hope you listen at this point if you're listening to this episode, the Dragon Wars, okay? Now, because my also-gracious players love to not ask lore questions while they play,
Nobody said we were smart as our characters.
That do be us. That sounds like fuck.
I have to try to exposition dump in the hardest ways, in like the most opportunistic ways, which is why episode 3, I did it very fast, and I know it was a lot, so I think we're gonna take a step back and slow it down for a second, okay?
Perfect.
To start off, there is a short story of the god of the world called Corman the Merciful, or the Dominant Dragon Lord, as everybody's heard. So, a long time ago, which was roughly 200 years ago in the world, the Dominant Lord, Corman the Merciful, was the hero of the realms who fought the forces of evil and creatures against humanity, and he was able to unite the coast and become the apex of civilization. One day, an evil organization called the Dragon Cult had attempted to take over Faerun by collecting ancient artifacts, which were the Dragon Mask, for any of you D&D lore nerds, to resurrect the dragon god Tiamat. So a single silver dragon decided to take up the fight under the guise as the man Radgon Chrome, because metallic dragons tend to transform into to different humanoids.
They do.
Radgon Chrome assembled a team of champions, as you've heard, the dragon champions, even was able to assemble the other metallic dragons of the world, and other races and groups far and wide, like the giants. They were able to recruit elves, dwarves, minotaurs, anybody and everybody to take up this fight. Their plan was to fight back against the Dragon Cult, who have practically taken over the coast, if not the world at this point. But ending in an epic, climactic battle in the Dragonwell Springs, as Corman stabbed his blade into Tiamat, he was able to seal her away for all of eternity, because, I mean, she's a god. It's kind of hard to kill gods.
True.
So, can't kill a god, we'll Naruto it. We'll seal it away. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
That works.
So everything was fine. But a year after saving the realms, the benevolent dragon god Bahamut, who is considered the good god, the god of the metallic dragons, had revealed himself to the plains and demanded that Tiamat be released from her sealment by the mortals. Because in my lore, since there are multiple, Tiamat and Bahamut are brother and sister. Just for, once again, any D&D people out there, that is the lore that I go with. Corman, obviously hesitant and not wanting to release Tiamat because of what Tiamat had attempted, the realm decided to face off against Bahamut himself, which Bahamut has followers from different planes that Bahamut was willing to bring to this world to fight back, to make sure that Tiamat gets released. Hence why that is one of the reasons why rifts happened in the world, which is why there are rifts in the world, because of this climactic battle. So, Corman and his team, the champions, had to reach a different level of power to even face off against Bahamut, right? So what they had decided to do is they decided to harness the power that sealed Tiamat and use it to power themselves up. Think of it almost like harnessing like a warlock patron power without having to sign anything off. Like you're just taking the power from the patron.
Yeah, it's like Power Rangers.
Yeah, sure, like Power Rangers. They all became Power Rangers, especially because it was chromatic dragons.
They all had to come together as a Megazord.
They are all designated as a different dragon color. So each champion in the world, because I don't think that's something that you guys know, champion in the world is designated as their own chromatic dragon.
Oh, wow.
Once again, there is one who is a poison dragon. There is the one who is the acid dragon, the fire dragon, the cold dragon, and the lightning dragon. After they had a long, hard fight against Bahamut, they were able to seal him away, similar to how they did Tiamat, which they sealed them away, which they did a similar thing, as in Corman sealed Bahamut into himself, just to make sure that no one could get to him. At that point, Corman had harnessed the power of Tiamat and harnessed the power of Bahamut, which resembles something of an artificial form of Io. If people know what Io is like the primordial dragon above Bahamut and Tiamat that created dragons, that created the concept of dragons and everything. It's the god above gods when it came to dragons. So Corman almost became like an aspect of it. And because of that, and because he is someone who actually lived in the mortal planes, he's not like a primordial or a god that said, I'm just not going to mess with anything. I'm not going to, I'm just going to leave everybody. Everyone can go fuck off and do whatever they want. I want to make sure that my home is right. My home is, my home is where it should be, which now the realms are to relatively outside of what's been going on for you guys for the past 200 years. Well, I'll say 190 because there was the Rift incident. Ding ding. But they live under the guidance of the dominant dragon lord, Corman the Merciful is his name. And that is the beginning of the Enameled Dragons. And the reason why that is the beginning is because during the Dragon Wars, Corman found a lover. Now, Corman was a silver dragon. Corman's lover was one of the champions, Guavacho, as you also heard in the podcast, who is also considered the mother of dragons, who is what people might think a Goliath and or a elf, depending on how you see the perspective of things. But the thing about that was, I'm sure people would ask, why did it not, like when they had a baby, why did it not turn into a half dragon? The reason why it didn't turn into a half dragon was because Guavacho had the spirit of a poison dragon inside of themselves. So they were already technically a part of a chromatic dragon at the time. And when they made love and Guavacho was pregnant, instead of it becoming a half dragon, it became something different. Something that mixed metallic dragons and chromatic dragons together, because metallic dragons and chromatic dragons don't breed, which created Darian Black, the very first Enameled Dragon.
Dang, that's crazy.
Because of that, them realizing that that was possible, and with Corman's guidance to the world, Corman was able to bring dragons together, because dragons are usually considered like an apex predator. You know what I mean? Isolated creatures. They work together if they absolutely have to. Even like metallics, usually they have their own hordes. They're just like, no, I don't fuck with anybody, blah, blah, blah.
So basically created like a great union of the different like types of dragons.
Correct. They created a great union of the different types of dragons. So now chromatic dragons and metallic dragons live. And now chromatic dragons and metallic dragons breed, which sometimes it creates an enameled dragon. Enameled dragons are rarer compared to chromatic or metallic, but they are considered the epitome of their race because of the fact that dragons are still, even though that they live with other cultures now and they live with other beings, they still are relatively considered the best of the best, because dragons are always considered the best of the best. So the Enameled Dragon is considered the best of the best of the best, which is why they usually get special treatment. As you guys have seen, experience when Barrett tells his background, when he has to deal with Calivax. Because of the fact that he was an Enameled Dragon, they didn't punish him for fighting dirty and breaking Barrett's leg, which they should have, but special treatment, privilege and all. That's how Enameled Dragons came to be. And Corman himself has 5 Enameled Dragon children, which, as you've seen, Darium is one. And you've seen his youngest sister, Cinderage. There are 3 more. There is an Ivory, a Jade, and then there's an Azul. So as you've seen, Darium's black. He is considered obsidian. You know, so just think of the metallic versions of it. So there is black, there is the obsidian, there is the ivory, there is the crimson, there's the jade, and then there's the Azul enamel dragons. Those are the 5 different enamel dragons that there are around.
Which of the... This is more towards the podcast than lore. Which other colors is Darium's like second brother / sister? Like it goes Darium black, then who?
So there is the first, which is once again Darium black. It's the oldest enamel dragon around. Yeah. Then there is the second child, who is the first daughter, which they call her Madame Elian Highhill, an ivory enamel dragon.
Okay.
Then there is the third child, Corin the Plague.
Oh.
Don't like that sound. I don't like that at all.
I like the name, though. I ain't gonna lie.
It is a badass name.
And then there's the fourth child, Grank Azurefoot.
Wow. Okay.
And then the youngest child, Cinderage. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why the names are all different. Because dragons are represented as titles. You know, they don't have like a last name. They don't have a tribal name. They don't have a family name kind of thing when it comes to dragons. They are always, you know, Carl, like Clouth the Vengeful or whatever. And
the Quig.
yeah, so even as enamel dragons, they all receive titles as they're growing up. As Aerie had a title, she was called Aerie the Loyal.
Loyal to the soil, baby.
I'm sure you guys have questions regarding these enamel dragons, whether it is their anatomy comparatively to other ones and or statistically the differences between them. So you guys are more than welcome to ask a couple questions first before we continue.
I think the one thing that it's making me think of a lot that I think is cool is like I don't know what lore you went with Io, because you know there's so many, but like the one that I usually go with is the one where like Io was fighting the primordial for like the realm, and then like he got cut in half with like the adamantium axe, and then it split apart. Like the 2 pieces of him, as soon as it fell to the ground, it rose as like Tiamat and Bahamut,
and then they fought the primordial together
yes.
to defeat him. Yeah. So the one that I the lore that I'm using is that Tiamat and Bahamut are direct descendants of Io, as he created the children, because he had created the third one, Vatra, I think it's called.
Yes.
Where then that was
which
the one,
is like the balance.
That's the yes. There was a third one that it was supposed to represent just like material and beauty that Tiamat kills.
Yes.
And because of that, Bahamut technically snitches on Tiamat, and then that's how Tiamat gets sent to the Hells to begin with, being forced to work for Asmodeus in the first floor of Hell.
I think what's really cool about like this creation is like with having like Bahamut and Tiamat like merged together in a way with the way that these enamel dragons are created. It's like creating godly dragons again straight from Io in a way.
Yeah, which is like one of the things that I thought would be like a cool thing to do for it.
Enamel dragons, right? You said they're rare. Even an enamel dragon that mates with an enamel dragon cannot produce it's a hard time producing a baby.
Enamel dragons have not mated together.
Okay.
Enamel dragons, the oldest one is Darium Black, who's only 200 years old.
And that's young for an enamel dragon, I'm assuming.
That's young for a dragon in general.
Okay.
You can really imagine like with this world and the way that they're trying to create this union and make it stronger. Like imagine the more that they mate, if it ends up like, you know, being more than rare, and eventually dragons change from like what they are to just enamel dragons at one point, where like it's just that.
Yeah. If they can even mate at all, because most hybrids are actually sterile. Fun fact.
Correct.
What would you say the population ratio is for like...
How many enamel dragons there are?
Yeah.
In the 200 years of dragons being brought into the world, cycled, made, and everything like that, I would say there would be less than 100. Probably like close to 100 enamel dragons, but they wouldn't have hit the 100 mark yet.
And Darium was the first.
Darium was the first. That's why he's considered an icon in the world. Like a little bit about Darium is that he was
So he's like the symbol of that union.
yes, he's almost like the symbol of the Dragon Coast to begin with.
Yeah.
You know,
Also the oldest son of a god, basically.
yeah,
So.
he is obviously the general of the Consortium Legion. He's considered the pride of the dragons and the creatures of the realm in general. He's trained by dragons, by warriors, by scholars, by lords, and since day one, he's technically been molded to lead the new world of Faerun in place of his father. You know, because Corman, being what he is trying to, like he said, he wants to make sure that his world is appropriate to how it should be. You know.
So like I know that like for D&D, being a god, like you can ascend to being a god, basically.
Yes.
Would you say that in a way Darium is a like a demigod?
No.
No?
I wouldn't say that Darium has not reached something like that. He has not reached it.
But he would be like considered in a way. Like not like mechanically in a way, but like I guess
mean-
like the people around the world would consider him just because his father is Corman
Yeah, I mean,
or the Dragon Lord, you know?
I think that if I were to make that, I can see myself making people that consider him something like a demigod, him and his brothers and sisters,
Yeah.
demigods to the world. So like that, I don't think that's out of the realm of things. Darium is also the creator of, technically, they called fusion breath. Okay, because Darium is a blend of two different dragon types that bred together, not just chromatic and metallic, but two different types. So because of that, he creates like an acidic fire because of it.
So like the elements of like the cold, because like Silver Dragons is cold, right?
Yes, but Corman was different.
Corman was different.
Yes.
Okay. And then like the poison from Guavacho.
The reason why Corman was different is because he harnessed the power of Tiamat at that point.
Ah, yeah,
Yes.
you're right.
Remember, he harnessed the power of Tiamat at that point when he made a child. So because of that, it fused and created like this like acidic fire.
If two dragons mate, like a chromatic and a metallic dragon, right? And they're like host of like two different elements, basically, then that child can come out having like a fusion of a breath, or is Darium like the only one that's achieved it so far?
Others have achieved it because of Darium, but
Okay.
certain Enameled Dragons haven't as well. Aerie, if you recall, Aerie did like an ash breath at you guys.
She did.
I guess that makes sense because like with actual genetics, like you could technically like make a new type of genetic, which would be the fusion of the breaths, and then you'd have like sometimes you take your parents' traits one way or the other, or a combination of the both. But sometimes it creates a new thing.
Does it stay the fusion, or can they do one or the other?
They could do one or the other as well.
Oh,
So hey, there's some strategy to it.
yeah, that's pretty neat.
Can you mention if the other three that we haven't seen so far are male or female, or would that be given too
did.
much away?
He did.
But just to reiterate, it was Elian is a female, Corin is a male, Gank is a male,
Okay.
and then there is Cinderace who's a female.
So he had 3 sons, 2 daughters.
Correct.
Okay.
As I said, there are fusion breaths.
Yeah.
Fusion types.
And all of his children have fusion breaths.
Correct.
Okay.
All of his children have the fusion breaths. Some of them have their own special ones, like Corin specifically and Darium specifically. Their fusions are different comparatively to the other ones who would have those fusions as well.
Okay.
But there is the fire and acid, which is like an orange yellow flame, and then there's fire and cold, which creates steam. There's fire and poison, which creates the poison ash that Aerie did. There's fire and lightning, which is what Cinderace is, and that's explosions.
She was dangerous.
And art is an explosion.
Shut up.
Yeah, there's acid cold, which is like almost like a mustard gas. That like it's like liquid that like you breathe in like liquid nitrogen kind of, you know.
Oh, that sucks.
Yucky.
There's acid poison, which is like this purple poison. Think of like like not just poison, but like a venom, like venom, like how like the difference between poison and venom
like
is that
harshly
poison is
poison.
yes, like a harshly poison. There's acid lightning, which is corrosive lightning. There's cold poison, which is like a cold mist that eats at like your skin. Like the poison, like it would get into your skin and like
start deteriorating.
Yes, like it would like freeze your body.
I hate that.
There's cold lightning, which is frozen lightning, which
Is that the thing that killed Mace Windu?
This is like electric shock and KY jelly combined.
which is there's only one Enameled Dragon that does frozen light that can do frozen lightning, and that is Gank. And then there is lightning poison, which is a paralysis breath, which is like a special type of paralysis breath comparatively to the regular metallic dragon's paralysis breath. The special thing, anatomy-wise, about Enameled Dragons comparatively to regular dragons, on how they look, is Enameled Dragon's natural form is, think of like a half dragon, but with wings.
Oh.
So like how Darium is, but like he has his wings like retracted. Like that's actually the Enameled Dragon's natural form.
Yeah, because we've only seen Darium in like a dragon humanoid form, but
Correct.
Like
you've seen
Cinderage.
You've seen Cinderage transform it from a dragon to like a humanoid, like actual human girl.
Okay.
But like they all have a natural form of looking like almost like a half dragon, with like their wings out.
Gotcha.
And that's like the way they were born.
Correct. That's the way that they're born.
And they can retract their wings.
They can retract their wings completely.
Do they all have the same type of like dragon style, or can they switch their style into like a more like a flood dragon versus like a Western style type dragon?
So like in
He's the dragon style.
like in actual D&D, they would take the mannerisms of their parents still. So like black dragons, when I believe they have like a little bit of a beard and like twisted horns, and like I think like gold dragons have like sharper with like some like part of the scales. So they take the characteristics of how their parents are. However, they still have the ability to change their look if they want to. So
So they stay in like this original like half dragon form technically. What is there a difference in their scales being like a hybrid?
oh yes, yeah.
Okay.
Their scales are technically harder than regular dragon scales.
Okay.
Because of it. Because like, and it's not because like, oh, it's like metallic, and because like metallic dragon scales are just as hard as regular chromatic dragon scales. Think of it as like, like how a dog has like 2 coats of fur. Mm-hmm. That a Enameled Dragon has like 2 coats of scales.
That's pretty cool.
And like because like I know that like so metallic dragons, they have like the shiny metallic colors, and then we have the 5 colors of the chromatic. Is there a difference in color in their scale?
Yeah, so like the crimson is like a metallic red.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Obsidian is a metallic black.
And
Ivory is a metallic white. Azul is a metallic blue, and then Jade is metallic green.
And I'm assuming like they can like have 2-tone colors as well. Like if their parents are 2 different colors, like they'd have multicolored scales sometimes, or is that not a thing?
No, that is not a thing.
Okay.
They usually conjoin into one thing. What it ends up being is the color of the chromatic, and then it is the dominant of what the color is, but it has the coating sheen of the metallic.
Oh,
Yes.
I got you. And
And I would assume like in the sunlight, like the color would probably like change a little, like depending on like what. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess like
angle
from
you're
like the
looking at it and
sunlight, from like a sunlight look to it. Yeah,
because it's so different.
yeah, it can have
gotcha.
that.
So you said they have 2 layers of scales, and usually I'm not this guy, but like, how would I even pronounce?
No,
it?
so
I think he was saying like their scales are as hard.
No, I'm going into something else.
Yeah.
completely off of that.
Well, I mean, they don't have 2 layers. I'm just relating it to having like 2 coats of fur, how their scales are.
Okay. So they don't actually have 2 layers of scales.
Like
No.
their scales are as hard as like one scale would be as hard as 2 scales.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so stat wise, are you gonna come up with like do you have a stat block prepared for these things, or
So stat wise, at the moment, they are more or less compared to regular dragons, just because I don't want to try to take away.
right?
But they do have feet wise. They have chain shape always.
Okay.
They have natural born armor.
Okay.
The racial feat, and they have the special fusion breath, which is yes. So like if we made like a spin-off, whatever, you wanted to be an Enameled Dragon of some sort, those would be the three main things that you would actually have.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Like I would like I've thought about this a lot to make sure. But pretty much I'd probably like the natural born armor is usually 13 plus your dex mod.
Okay.
I'd probably do maybe 13 plus. I'd probably do, instead of like 13 plus your dex mod, I'd probably do maybe like 12 plus your dex and charisma, because of the fact that charisma is like the spell casting of like what dragons are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe something like that. Or
Gotcha.
something along those lines. Or maybe I'd give it like Toils have like a certain AC no matter what kind of thing. Maybe it'd be something like that as well.
I think that'd probably be a better way to go.
So
like we might not experience this because of how long it might take in the world we're playing in. But do you think that eventually there might be enameled dragonborns?
I would like to think that like this growing world could have something like that.
Interesting.
I would like love, like, you know, I mean, like
Yeah.
like you create something, you would like it to grow and everything like that. I think like that would be a really cool idea. That's and technically that would probably be what like people play, you know, Enameled Dragonborn instead.
A superior dragonborn.
And I'm sure people are, you know, talk about like, oh, what about the gem dragons and things like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I believe I mentioned it briefly in the campaign, but in my world, the gem dragons were sealed away, all of them. And then
Like people didn't even know they existed.
People didn't even know
You
they-
mentioned it in episode
Yes.
3, I think.
people didn't even know they existed until Bahamut and Tiamat both got sealed away, that their like seal on them, their like chain on them or whatever got released, and then the gem dragons rose from like the pits of the like from the core of the earth. And obviously they thanked Corman for releasing them, and then they were one of the things that helped create the civilization. Because like gem dragons are relevant in this world. They're not part of the genetic enameled dragons. Gem dragons are still separate on their own. But the thing about gem dragons in my world is that they are, they house the rarest materials of the world. There is a place called Dragon's Pike, which Ari has mentioned that that's where she was raised. It is it is the main place where gem dragons lay.
So gem dragons are pretty much like the titans that were locked up underneath the sea in Hercules.
Kind of, yes. Like best way to describe it, like to simplify it, that's pretty much how their lives were in my world.
I got you. So there hasn't been any hybridization between gem dragons.
No,
So that's neat.
that is why Darium, his armor is made from, like his shield is made from like a like gem dragon scales that were given to him and created, because he still wants to represent gem dragons as well.
Oh, so forward thinking that.
Okay.
Guy.
So like in the growth of this this world and stuff, like there could be, because like nobody ever thought that, you know, chromatic and metallic can breed. There's a possibility that there could be some type of breeding with gem.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think so. You know, I would like to think that that is something that could be made possible. Obviously, the enameled dragons of the world, it's only been 200 years. You know what I mean? They technically don't know everything about them. I mean, we're fucking humans who've been living on this earth for thousands of years and still don't know everything about our
And
bodies.
that's how long the gem dragons have been released, right? 200
Correct.
years.
They've been released pretty much the same amount of time. I mean, the gem dragons know about themselves because they've been around for a long time, but they got sealed for fucking
They
forever.
were just sealed away. They were still living,
Yes,
but
they
they
were still
were
living.
with the outside world.
Correct.
Gotcha. They just had a very long time out.
Yes. Yes.
Or a coma.
Were they conscious?
Were they conscious? Could they see into the outside world or no?
No. They
Okay.
It was like
They shut
blinders.
lights off.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, interesting. So are you going to come up with character sheets for these for our listeners?
character sheets, or you mean like a race?
Yeah, like actual like a race playable race, like
Sure.
mechanic sheet.
Yeah. Like I said, like I want to, and like I've thought about. Obviously, I put mechanically what they would have. So I think
I think that'd be sweet, and then we could throw it up on our Patreon for you loyal listeners. Harmless plug. Big plug. Because if you want to listen to any more of this, you better have Patreon.
I love the aggression. Love it.
But yeah, there's more, obviously, Enameled Dragons that you guys haven't met. You guys have only seen 3. And you heard about 4 because of Calivax.
Yes, yes. The only ones we've seen is Darium, Cinderage, and Aerie.
Correct.
I'm just saying, none of these Enameled Dragons is painting themselves in a good light at all, whatsoever. For us,
I mean,
Aerie did.
Aerie was
everybody
awesome.
but you thinks Aerie
Yeah.
did.
okay, I stand on this hill, not die on this.
Even
hill.
at the end, as much as Aerie like had to be loyal to Cletus's dad, she still was trying to help us. The entire time during that fight in the sky, she was trying to help Cletus.
Yeah. So I guess I can talk.
I wasn't up there. I ain't know that. How was I supposed to know that?
Well, because you're Droppa, you're not Don. Okay, so you know.
So
Gasp! This isn't Don Lewis? The newest, truest Paladentus?
So in that fight, Luke Bryan actually didn't even want to grab Cletus at all. That was Aerie making that decision because Aerie was trying to get Luke Bryan overturned at that point. He was just trying to escape. That's why he yelled at you saying, "What the fuck are you doing here? Just jump off, leave me alone."
In a way, Aerie kind of saved you because Cinderage was going ham,
Oh, yeah.
just
She
blowing up everything.
She saved the fuck out of me. You know, I was only 500 feet up in the air fighting on the back of a dragon and I didn't die.
I mean, it's a cool bar story.
Cool Bard story.
I can't. I can't with you two.
And even you guys were kind of questioning being aligning with Camilla and Alistair, so you guys were even questioning what Darium's actual motivations of what he's been doing. You know what I mean? He might be a good guy, he might not. You guys just actually haven't gotten to talk to him yet, actually.
Mm-hmm. I think as a player, right? I think that he might be a good guy and might possibly want to have a conversation with him to figure out what's going on. But as a character, because Cletus said he took our wives and his daughter / fiance, whatever that is,
It's a healthy, loving relationship.
I'm just he's bad guy number 1. Bad guy number 2 is Cletus's dad, but bad guy number 1 is still Darium.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
Which is still fair.
Yeah. But he actually got bodied by Cletus's dad.
Yeah, but
Does that make him happy?
Does that really make him bad guy number 1?
Well, because he's the kidnapper.
Maybe not to Cletus, because he did try saving Stella from.
That's also true. I guess you guys are gonna have to keep listening to find out what happens.
Yeah.
Because we can't.
And there was that moment where you guys saw Stella confiding in Darium. Mm-hmm. As you got, it was explained before that they seemed very intimate with each other.
As I threw
Seemed
up.
like they knew each other, but guess we still got to figure that all out.
Still gotta figure all that out.
Man,
It's a shame we don't ask questions.
It's a shame you don't ask questions.
I mean, just hearing about these creatures though, Enameled Dragons really seem like a problem because I would love to have them as friends, but the way that we're going through the podcast, we're definitely gonna make all of them enemies. So
But maybe there's some real edgy try hard Enameled Dragons that are about that life.
yeah, they're just come on, bro, we're gonna help you, man.
Yeah, dude, we have to kill the system, bro.
Fuck the establishment, man.
Yeah, bro, cut my life into pieces.
We're all free. We're all dragons.
Who's Darium? Crack.
Me, you, that gnome, everybody. We're all dragons,
Yeah,
man.
bro, my
in heart.
My first girlfriend was a curb gnome, and they said it wasn't possible, and then she left me for a Scorpio with a John Morant
Except
attitude.
for a Scorpio with a John Morant attitude. Perfect. Love it.
Awesomeness.
You ever just cannot follow up what somebody said? You're just
There's nothing to. It's just not worth it.
yeah,
It's always worth it. sir.
curb known with a John Morant attitude.
She was spicy.
So not even 100 of them exist.
No,
And they
it would be close, but not 100.
Aries gone, so that's one less.
correct.
And Ari was I think I said 120, something like that, 100 something years old.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she is one of the older ones.
I wonder if they
Think about it.
Is 200 years enough to reach sexual maturity for an actual regular dragon?
Yeah, so like
I'm on reptile shit, bro. Like that's just what's going through my
so
mind.
I believe after like 100 something years, you're usually considered like a young to an adult dragon.
Okay,
Like
they're on that elf shit.
yeah, I guess I could say so.
I would assume they're more mature though because they've like
No, yeah,
Yeah.
they mature. Cinderage, like when she changed into her size, she changed it to like an adult size dragon. You know what I mean? It wasn't young or whatever. And same thing with Aerith, she changed it to an adult size. Like their bodies mature faster because they are kind of like half dragons in a way. You know what I mean? Because of like the mixing of the DNAs and all that stuff. But I guess I just want I guess like the point of them not breeding it is that no one's really attempted. There's been no attempts that like the world has known that anybody knows yet. There's been no attempts of actual breeding yet because
Gotcha.
these enameled dragons, as the mother of dragons does, is sets them on a path, and they go on that path.
Gotcha.
And
no matter how long it might take.
And are they all like brothers and sisters anyway?
I mean, not exactly. I mean, like.
Because like they're all birthed out of Govacho, right?
No.
Okay,
no,
okay.
no.
So they could just be naturally. So technically, they could have occurred before all of this, and just no one knew about it.
Correct. That was the thing. It could have occurred before. However, there is a special. There's a special, I guess you could say, treatment that a dragon has to go through while they are holding an enameled dragon
To have like a successful like.
to have a
birth.
successful birth of the egg.
Gotcha. So like it could have happened, but it's very, very unlikely.
It was very, very unlikely. There is a special way that has to happen to make sure that the dragon itself that lays the egg and that the egg itself can both come out alive.
Gotcha.
So, how do you know you're about to have an enameled dragon? Like, is there just like
So like
a
in
test?
general, dragons like they breed
Uh-huh.
and then like they lay eggs afterwards. So I guess they just like I haven't read the Draconomicon.
Or looked up some like really weird stuff on the internet.
But they plan essentially. There is like a nesting area in a place called Wyvern's Nest, which is if you're a Sonic fan, it's like Angel Island. Okay, it's actually a floating island around the coast. That is where dragons breed now for it to make sure that it's safe from everything else. Because something like an enameled dragon is important.
Yeah, and it's not like some random creature's just gonna run up on a bunch of dragons,
And yeah, they're not gonna fly thousands of feet up in the air to.
What about the dragons that can't fly? Do they have like an elevator?
I mean, there's
system?
ships. There's airships in this world and everything like that.
They have like a beam me up, Scotty.
So with like the crazy treatment and like how rare it is, like I'm assuming like Govacha going through it like the first time and them having to figure it all out. It's probably why
the only reason why Govacho survived was because at that point Govacho had like some power and like had Corman's power to help to make sure that
also the power of Tiamat.
yeah,
inside.
the power of Tiamat to help.
So like out of like all dragons that like if it had them like super rare, like it's ridiculous that Govacho would have had like 5 kids then.
Yes, correct. But I mean, Govacha also had the other kids after they became a dragon lord. But for someone like Govacha, that wasn't like a pure form dragon. Yes, it's crazy the fact that they had 5. Yeah, and like I said, like right now, if I'm stat blocking them, I'm stat blocking them to like young dragons or adult dragons at the moment. Like, I think the strongest one would be like the eldest dragon is Darium, right? And he from what I recall when I stat blocked him, because I did create an actual like stat block for him specifically, I don't even think he's considered an ancient. Like I didn't like stat block him as an ancient or like some like 20 something level 20th something CR creature or anything like that. Because like as much as I love these things, I'm not gonna like.
You're not gonna make it OP.
Yeah,
You gotta make them balanced, because especially if somebody wants to play them.
Yes, exactly, correct. I want to make sure, and it just it also, like, timeline-wise, it makes sense, you know? He's only 200 years old.
That's also true.
As much as the training and everything that he's had in his life, which is pretty much just been entirely training.
Yeah.
Outside of the Rifter incident that happened 10 years ago in the world, his life has pretty much been set on a path for him.
Gotcha. Which we still don't know what the fuck happened.
So, saying you want to fight a normal Dragonborn of this nature, stat block it. What like CR rating would you put?
What do you mean, normal Dragonborn? Or,
no, like a normal Enameled Dragonborn. Say if I want to throw this at a group of people and I want this to be like the evil villain, like what do you think the basic CR rating would be?
I would say find the dragon the dragon stat block that you want, and I would give it a fusion fire, a fusion breath of whatever. You know what I mean? So let's say you find a adult poison dragon, which I think is like a CR, I don't know, like 15 or something like that, right? Off the top of my head, I don't know, I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's something like a CR 15, right? Poison adult dragon. You like it, you know? Then what you do is that you split the die of the breath attack, right? So let's say, because I think poison does D4s. You would take half of that, and then if you're turning it to fire, they'll fire D6s. So let's say it was like 20 D4s or whatever, so then it's like 10 D4s or 12 D4s, and then it's like 8 D6s of fire damage. You get you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would make sure it has the ability to change shape, and I will say that there is always something that people that the DMG tells you that if you want to make like a variant dragon called a spellcasting dragon, which is to use charisma as their spellcasting modifier, and to give them a set of level spells. All Enameled Dragons can innately cast magic. It's not something that they like really have to learn. It's almost like sorcerers that they can just kind of do it. So you just stock them with some spells.
So like the ability to do is already within them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would make sure to find the dragon stat block that you like, split its breath attack, and give it some spells, spell slots.
You were right. It's a CR 15, and for like the regular like poison breath, it's 16 D6s.
Okay, so 16 D6s, right? Yeah. So if you're doing fire, it's a D6s as well. So you actually just kind of split that up to 8 D6 fire, 8 D6 poison. Correct. You know what I mean? Maybe if you want to up the because if it's having your BBEG, you give it some more HP. You give it some more HP. You up the DC for the breath attack.
And it would have a higher AC than a normal dragon, right?
Yes, I'd probably give it because like the AC for an adult dragon is probably like 18, 19.
Yeah, so like the adult green dragon is 19.
Yeah. So I'd probably give it like 21.
Yeah, makes sense. Just because like the scales are harder.
Yeah,
like
thicker.
Said.
Like it actually, like it has a shield on it, so like a +2 to it. You know what I mean? So
dangerous creatures. Definitely
really
dangerous
is.
creatures.
I think that we're in a time and place where people are straying away from dragons because it's the cliche. Mm-hmm. And I thought it would be a cool thing to try to bring it back in a different way, with the Enameled Dragon, because it's something I even like Googled it to try to see if like Enameled Dragon was like a thing, and I didn't really find anything, because like I was trying to think like, what would I name it? Something that's metallic and something that is like chromatic together, like a colored metal. And then I thought of like the enamel pins and things like that, so I thought it was a really fun name for it. So
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fitting, very fitting.
Got the bathtub dragons.
Yeah. So it is a C.O.K original. It's something that was a long time making, and it happened naturally during the campaign. Which like it was actually like my plan to do, but it ended up, because thanks to Osokuma, it actually ended up happening naturally without me having to like make that a thing. So
you're welcome for playing my character.
Look at you.
A little bit of background on how it actually happened naturally.
He fucked the hero
Oh, okay. Because you're just horny. You're just horny all the time.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Horny just never leaves your bloodstream, does
So
it?
like when we played that campaign, Guavacho was on a journey to find who he considered to be his true love. He felt like he needed to find someone that can basically take him down. So like when he would go and like see somebody that he was maybe like attracted to, like he was attracted to like power in a way, and he wanted someone who could completely take him down, and it wasn't working. Like everybody that he found that was super powerful, that he would like, he's like, maybe this is the one, maybe this is the one that could rival my power and we can, you know, be lovers. He'd accidentally kill that.
Oh, so he's like a Black Widow. So
But
he just wants to fuck. And
when
then,
he met Corman, he didn't know that Corman was a dragon, and he slowly started to fall in love with Corman, and then he realized that his strength was nothing compared to Corman's. And it started to it was him just like following Corman and like really believing in what his cause was, and then eventually it ended up like turning into a strong relationship, and it worked. He got the hero.
Teaser to lore that you guys will find out later. There was actually a love triangle involved in all that.
There was.
Whoa.
There was.
It was actually one of the main plot points of the prequel campaign. But
We'll not mention anything, but Guavacho almost ended up with someone else.
So, Psycho, I have a joke for you.
okay,
So, technically, we all died, right?
is this another like lot lizard joke?
Maybe.
Okay,
Technically, we all died, right?
sure.
And technically, not saying it is, I don't really know yet, but technically, his fiance is a dragon princess, right?
Sure.
So we all got dragon in part of us, right?
Sure.
So does that make Don enamel dragonborn?
Because he's a dentist?
Yeah.
damn.
Sure.
Okay.
We're dead. We're all Draco Liches.
How easy can like do their scales like pop off? Do they molt their scales?
I haven't thought about that. No one's used Enameled Dragon for any, like, no one's used Enameled Dragon scales for any purpose, if that's what you're curious about. Like, no one's, like, created, like, an Enameled Dragon, like, shield or sword or scale.
I have a follow-up question now because of that.
Yeah, I may or may not have one also.
Aerie died.
Yes.
What would have happened to Aerie's body? Is that something that like...
Only a handful of Enameled Dragons have died.
Okay, but I'm saying like if like an enamel dragon dies, do they do something for that enamel dragon like specifically to get rid of the body? Is it something like if you're found with like an enamel dragon like scale off of like a dead enamel dragon, can you get in trouble? Is it like against
Absolutely.
the law? Okay, so if like Aerie died and we were just like, okay, damn, Cinderage like smack some scales off. Let's grab these scales. Probably be heavy as shit, but we had a box truck at the time, and like. Say we went somewhere and we're just like, yo, we need armor made. We'd get in trouble.
Only black market. And even then, maybe not.
I know that information in real life, but as Rosie, I don't. So if I find one, I'm probably going to try to use it for something.
Well, if they're nice like Aerie, we're probably not.
Yeah, no, but if you find, like, it's dead,
Speak for
or like you
yourself.
find, like, the scales.
Yeah, it was just an animal dragon.
I assume the scales look nice. Like, I'd probably just try to, like, make a chain or something. Like, I wouldn't even, like...
We'll just watch Channel 19 Action News at nighttime and just be like, oh, there's a murder. Let's go look for scales.
Yeah, no, I just want...
That's
I'm
like
wondering.
listening to police scanners like, oh, there's a shootout happening. Let's go tune in.
Yeah, imagine how wild that
Let's not.
So like when normal dragons die, like most people will be like, it is what it is. But like if an enamel dragon died, there's like a whole ceremony for it, basically.
Correct.
Okay. So Psycho.
Yeah.
Any last things that you would want us to know about this? Or any words before?
When it comes to this campaign, I would pay attention to when people describe their past, because most enamel dragons look like different races. They usually are not in their natural form, because enamel dragons are usually it's more, I guess you could say, like intimidating when enamel dragons are around, because they are always like, they are considered like culturally like apexes of like, you know, everything. Like
So like the only one we've seen that's in their natural form, like just boldly out there, is Darium, right?
Yes, in his absolute natural form, and
It's Cinderage.
you haven't seen. You didn't see
we see
Cinderella.
Cinderella.
I guess, yeah, you guess you're right.
She
She's
seemed like
she-
a human.
Yeah, she went from dragon to just like a human girl.
Gotcha.
So, I think, if anything, for you guys to make sure to maybe sometimes analyze when people are talking to you about their experiences or pasts.
Okay.
That's sus.
That's sus as fuck.
We were just like we can't trust anybody. Anybody can be a dragon, and we were just like, okay, it's cool. We're dragons. Sorry for everything. And then now he just hit us with this, and now we're just about to be like, anybody
Ragnar.
could be a dragon. Sus.
Hey, I can remember a couple.
You know who I think who I thought was a dragon, and I'm still like unsure. He might be something even more. Ray.
Yeah, I Ray's something. I don't know what the fuck Ray is, but Ray is definitely something.
Ray was very sus. The way that he was just like, like I've been around since like the dragons were created.
He was
Before the
senile,
dragon.
man.
But,
No,
like,
he wasn't, man.
I'm not
no,
sure
he wasn't.
if he was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because as soon as things got serious, he was serious.
Yeah, but he takes a job seriously. That's
Listen
it.
here.
Don't start talking in the accent like you're trying to convince me.
Oh, Sonny, what's going on?
See, nah.
Nah, fuck that shit, man. Now you got me going.
Oh man,
Fuck, there's a.
we heard a lot. We learned a lot. We discussed a lot. What would everybody's cock rating be for the Enameled Dragon? I think me personally, if I had to rate it, I'd probably rate it at a 17 out of the 20. Reason being, I think it's great. I love it, but I feel like there's so much more room for growth, and the fact that the oldest one is only 200 years old, there's a lot I don't know. Just in general, I probably wouldn't give a full 20 rating on anything because anything can be improved, whether like it or not.
Agreed.
So
I have my biases.
I go 17.
17.
I'ma go 18, just simply off of aesthetics. And I'm with so everything can be improved, but aesthetics, I wanted 2-tone scales. I ain't even gonna lie to you, but like we only can keep one color. I'm gonna slide it at 18.
Okay.
No, but he said it got two-tone in the light.
Ain't the same
It's got that
though.
shimmer. It's like hypnotic, that disgusting purple liqueur with the fucking silver in it. And my rating on this clock classic would be a 15, just because the same reasons also Kuma said, because like I do become like kind of like a lore whore and like want like a bunch of stuff, and I like think it's still very much in the very beginning of everything, like 200 years, that ain't shit for like dragon time. So
much we don't know.
yeah, I think there's so much that we don't know. There's so much that could be added, and then there's the whole fucking the gem dragon thing. Like, what do you throw a gem dragon that's horny in there, and then fucking throws everything off tilt?
I mean, like, because like the way that I see it is, the oldest one's 200 years old. We know what they can do from like what Psycho has told us, but these are amazing creatures that were just randomly created. And we don't know how powerful they can become the older they get.
Yeah.
We don't know
don't
what
know the
changes.
extent of their abilities.
Yeah, we don't know the extent of their abilities, and neither does Darium. Darium was able to figure out that they can do a fusion breath, and then taught other Enameled Dragons. But like, if he didn't do that, who knows if anybody else would have figured that out?
But bro, things have been horny since the beginning of time, and like dragons have been there for a long fucking time. There could be like that 1% chance that there's a fucking 5,000-year-old Enameled Dragon in the world.
Weird question. Weird conspiracy theory-esque question.
I like it.
Would you be completely mind fucked if your dad was an Enameled Dragon?
I don't know. I get mind fucked all the time. I get mind fucked really easily.
And then Psycho. I know you're the one that created it. And
Oh, you want me to give a rating?
you could be biased, but
Oh, I'm very hard on myself as a person. You guys rated it way higher than I would have.
I want to hear your personal rating, what you feel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you heard what we said, and overall, I know it's very easy to second guess yourself. I mean, I do it all the time with with the stuff I'm creating and stuff like that. But like, It is a very, very good idea. It's very interesting. It's great for like this world building that you're doing. What would you rate the Enameled Dragon?
If I'm giving myself the benefit of the doubt of what this is, I'd probably give myself still like a 14. I mean, similar, obviously, to what you guys are saying. There's way more to it that that would need to be established. I've only set the thing that it's only been around for 200 years, and for things that dragons could live up to, a natural dragon, metallic dragon, or chromatic dragon, or gem dragon, I think their average lifespan is like 1500. I think maybe more than that. So like the oldest one, if we're going off of it being 1500, the oldest one has only lived a tenth of his life.
True. Very true. We don't know what he's capable of.
Like there's some dragons that have gone beyond that age range, but I'm pretty sure that's like the average. I'm hoping to create more with it, but you got to start somewhere. And I didn't want to create all this like, 1,000 years ago there's this stuff, blah 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 blah, because like it might not even be good. I'd give it a 14, I think.
So, with my 17,
8.
Droppa's 18, Chappie's 15, and Psycho's 14, our official C.O.K rating for the Enameled Dragon is a bold 16. We would love to hear, your rating for it, and when this Dungeons and Discussions episode, comes out, we might throw a poll up on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear people's opinions on it.
Yeah. We would definitely love to hear feedback, what you guys think, any questions, and we'd love to answer them. Dungeons and Discussions is something that we're going to release an episode, every couple of regular episodes for our podcast. But for the most part, we're going to have a bunch of Dungeons and Discussions episodes on our Patreon. And, if you could support us on there, we would love it. We appreciate it, and we'll have more content there soon. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, thanks for hearing out one of my creations. I guess that's what I could say. Thank you and thank you guys for taking time to do a whole episode about this.
Let's hear plugs as we go ahead and head out.
You can follow me at Chappie_COK on Twitter. And you can also check out my big buddy over at Big Campaign Podcast, Jeff.
Big Jeff!
He has the coolest voice I've ever heard in my entire life. And maybe he might jump on a C.O.K game. Maybe.
Hopefully.
Definitely.
Well, yeah, probably, definitely, Jeff. You don't even have a choice. We're going to come to Seattle and we're going to get you.
Just abduct you. Okay, not abduct you, but like...
No, abduct's good.
Okay, cool. Just abduct you.
I'm pretty sure Jeff's okay with being abducted.
Cool.
Yeah, he might.
Cool.
Plug Psycho?
Yes, you can follow me at anything at XYCH0 COK. I'd also like to give a shout out to an additional AP podcast out there called Two Monsters Rolling Dice. They do really good work. Their production is really high value. I'm really jealous of their editing because I do the editing and I wish I could be that good. I'd also, as usual, like to plug in Hybrid Punk. They do some of the additional music that we do for these episodes, and Shianovis did our theme song.
I like to plug myself. Follow me at Droppa_crit, KRIT on Twitter.
And I'm Oso Kuma. You can follow me on any platform at OSOKUMA_COK. And also follow Clash of Crits. That's at Clash_of_crits with a K. I would like to say thank you for joining our table and discussing with us for Dungeons and Discussions. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. This was a Clash of Crits podcast. Theme song done by Shianovis, with additional music done by Hybrid Punk. If you enjoyed our show, please give us a rating. See you in the next episode.